Welcome back, warriors. Kwe Tansei Sego. Hi, my name is Pam Palmater, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we focus on educating the resistance and inspiring the next generation of warriors to help us save our peoples and the planet. Dear mainstream media, this is a video for you. Racism is a fact in Canada. It's not an opinion or an allegation, it's a fact. Police have been brutalizing, sexually assaulting, and killing Black and Indigenous peoples for decades. So stay tuned to hear the 10 most important things that mainstream media needs to do to get it right when reporting on police racism against Indigenous and Black peoples in Canada. Dear mainstream media, I think we need to have a talk. There are some things that we need to get straight about the state of affairs we're in right now so you can do your job better. Canadians still look to you for information about what is happening in this country and in other countries. It is important that you get it right. We need to ground this conversation about racism in some very harsh realities. Canada is racist. Yes, you heard that right. Canada as a country is racist. That includes both systems and people. I know that may be hard for you to hear, but it is even harder for us as Indigenous peoples and Black peoples to live with. Part of addressing this lethal pandemic of racism is acknowledging that we have a problem in the first place and then taking substantive steps to address it. Sadly, Canada seems to still be stuck on denial, deflection, or deferring the issue to endless studies. There is a lot of work to be done, and for the most part, Canada has refused to do that hard work. So I'm dedicating today's video for the mainstream media. I have 10 important points you need to understand about your media coverage of the stories involving anti-Indigenous and anti-Black racism by police in Canada. Number 1, racism in Canada is a fact. It's not my opinion or an academic theory. Racism has been researched and put through rigorous legal scrutiny and many public commissions and justice inquiries. It's been found to be a matter of fact. Number 2, anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism by police is a fact. It is not an allegation. I do not allege that the police are racist. The police are racist. Police in Canada brutalize, sexually assault, and kill Indigenous and Black peoples at grossly disproportionate rates. Number 3, racism is against the law. It's not a topic or a matter for debate. Racism is against Indigenous laws, Canadian laws, and international laws. It is no more debatable than are the laws against murdering people. You have an obligation to present your media stories in the legal context in which they sit. Number 4, there are no sides to racism. There are only perpetrators and victims. The media should not privilege the voices of police perpetrators of racialized violence while blaming or vilifying the victims or excluding their voices. Number 5, white supremacy is not a fringe right-wing ideology. It is literally the foundation of Canada's laws, policies, practices, economies, and governing systems. And when you fail to address white privilege in the media, you by default give it a platform and silence racialized voices. Number 6, there is no such thing as a few bad apples in policing. The whole bunch is spoiled. Police chiefs and police unions consistently refuse to cooperate with criminal or special investigations, and they've failed to take internal steps to weed out racism, sexualized violence, and brutality in their own police forces. Number 7, the blue code of silence is not camaraderie, it is corruption. Police officers consistently refuse to report their fellow officers for racial profiling, harassment, bullying, stalking, brutality, sexual assaults, and killings. That is corruption. That needs to be dealt with as a criminal matter, not an internal human resource matter. Number 8, Difficult jobs justify ongoing training and supports, but they do not excuse racism, corruption, or brutality. Yes, police have difficult, even dangerous jobs, not unlike EMTs, firefighters, or emergency room doctors. But no profession is entitled to racially target, brutalize, and kill Black and Indigenous peoples just because their job is difficult. Number 9, media must investigate behind political promises and performances like taking a knee and seek evidence of substantive legal, economic, and social changes when it comes to racism. Avoid being the unwitting propaganda machine of police unions or governments. And finally, number 10, prioritize facts, historical context, and patterns over superficial concepts of balance. You should never allow your media outlet to become a platform for hate under the guise of balance by manufacturing two sides and then presenting diametrically opposed views, regardless of what the actual facts or legal accuracy are. You can excuse racism or you can call it out. The media plays a key role in informing and educating the public, and this comes with a corresponding responsibility for how you present your stories. You can't be blind to racism or you perpetuate it. What the media does from this point on determines whether you are going to be part of the solution or part of the problem. And a failure to be intentional about how you cover stories, who covers those stories, and who decides what gets to be published can literally be a matter of life and death for Black and Indigenous peoples in Canada. It is so important that you get this right from this point forward. Justice for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Dwayne Christian, Andrew Loku, Jermaine Carby, Dondre Campbell, Chantel Moore, Aisha Hudson, Regis Korchinski-Paquette, Stuart Andrews, Jason Collins, and thousands more. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I hope you found it helpful in advancing our ongoing conversations about how to end anti-Black and anti-Indigenous racism in both Canada and the United States. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing, commenting, and sharing these videos with your family, friends, colleagues, and social justice allies. And if you want additional resources, you can check out my website at www.pampalmater.com, where you can access all of my publications, my Warrior Life podcast, my Warrior Kids podcast, and my Indigenous Nationhood blog. I wish you all the health, safety, and shelter for you, your families, and nations during this pandemic and during these important protests. Till next time, stay alert, warriors.